Hello, I'm Dave Fieldman, the village manager for Downers Grove. Fire Chief Jim Jackson and I will take a few minutes to discuss the repair or replacement of the village's ladder truck. The policy issue for the village council to consider is how to repair or replace the village's ladder truck. The village has owned and operated a ladder truck since 1923, and we've owned and operated a modern version of a ladder truck since 1959. Our current ladder truck has sustained significant structural damage and is not operable. To make an informed decision about the ladder truck, you should understand how the ladder truck is used as part of the village's emergency response strategy to achieve a desired level of service. The village's current level of service includes a response time of 4 to 6 minutes. It also calls for us to perform 3 key activities at a fire scene as soon as we arrive. Chief Jackson will show us a video of the first 4 minutes of a fire to show why we perform those 3 key activities. During this discussion, you will hear the fire chief refer to our response strategy as having the right tool at the right time. And the ladder truck is an integral part of this response strategy. We will also discuss the uses of a ladder truck and how the ladder truck is uniquely equipped to perform the 3 key activities and designed to arrive on the scene as soon as possible. We will also address the common misconception that a ladder truck is used only on high-rise buildings. In fact, we'll show that the ladder truck is used to respond to buildings of 1 to 7 stories. Our ladder truck has suffered significant structural damage to the ladder assembly itself and the frame of the truck. It is in need of repair or replacement. During this presentation, we will discuss 4 options for the repair or replacement that are consistent with the current level of service in the village's response strategy. We will show that the funding for the replacement or repair of the ladder truck is available now because the village operates and manages an equipment replacement fund, and making this purchase or repair now will have no negative impact on the village's financial position. Finally, in this presentation, staff will make a recommendation to replace the ladder truck now and place a new ladder truck into service within 3 to 6 months. I would now like to introduce our fire chief, Jim Jackson.
Well, thanks, Dave. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the characteristics of fire. Everybody knows the basics of fire, but I'm talking about fire spread and how fire doubles its size every minute. When fire starts, it produces smoke, heat, and poisonous gases. And it consumes everything in its path until either the fire goes out or everything is burned up. During this video, I want you to watch fire growth and its spread. Watch how it doubles in its size every minute. Color of the smoke and the intensity of the fire. On the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a time. That's actual time. Watch that time as the fire grows. As you can see the fire, it's increasing in its size, it's consuming everything in its way, and now the smoke has now become on fire. The temperature in that room right now is approximately anywhere between 1100 to 1500 degrees, and it's getting hotter. As you can see how things are spontaneously combusting, and the fire is just consuming everything in its path. This room is completely sealed, and it has no ventilation whatsoever. As we speed the time up, you can see we're 2 minutes and 46 seconds into the video. Fire is now consuming everything in its path. Survivability is next to nothing. We're coming up to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The room is completely on fire. It's taking complete control of the structure. It has no place to go but consume everything. We're 3 minutes 53 seconds into it. 3 minutes 53 seconds, and we're still not on the scene. So you're asking yourself, how do we fight that kind of a fire? We use fire control tactics. There's 3 things that we must and we will do at every fire: ventilation, search and rescue, and suppression. These must be completed. Let's talk a little bit about ventilation. What do you mean when we ventilate? Everybody asks that question, when you ventilate. It controls the spread of fire. People ask, how do you do that? Well, what's it all about? Well, we'll get into the fire truck, we'll get into the basket, we'll take all our equipment, go up to the roof, and we will cut a hole, usually 4 by 4, 4 foot by 4 foot hole. And what that's doing is creating a chimney for the smoke, the heat, and the superheated gases to travel up and we're creating that chimney for that fire to go, the fire spread. The video you saw before, there was no ventilation, and the fire was taking complete control of that room. When we ventilate and we create that chimney, we're taking control of the fire. We're telling the fire where it needs to go, which is up and out of the building. The next thing we must do is search and rescue. Once it's ventilated, we go in to perform search and rescue. Crews have to force their way into the structure because the front door is not always open. When we go in, we stay low and we begin searching. We do a primary search and we do room-to-room searches to make sure everybody is out of the building, and we search for any kind of victims. There will be times when we can't access the front door. We'll have to gain access to an elevated place. So we might have to go through a second or a third floor window or door. Suppression. What is suppression? Basically, we just put the fire out. Using water and hose, we just go into the building and put the fire out. These are the three things that we must and will accomplish at every fire: ventilation, search and rescue, and suppression. These three actions must be done simultaneously and accomplished quickly. Let's talk a little bit about some of the tools that we use. Having the right tools at the right time. For ventilation, we use a ladder truck. There's a misunderstanding about the ladder truck that all it does is flow water at elevated positions. The ladder truck is very versatile. It gives us the ability to carry tools and personnel to elevated positions anywhere from 1 to 7 floors. Safely cut holes in roofs of buildings we cannot normally access. Firefighters can also operate off the basket to cut holes on unstable roofs. The ladder truck is the right tool for ventilation. Let's talk a little bit about search and rescue. Again, the ladder truck. There are times we can't walk through the front door of a building, so we'll have to access the upper floors to start performing search and rescue. We'll put the tools and equipment into the basket, gain entry into the upper floors, and perform search and rescue. The ladder truck also allows us to rescue multiple people from upper floors. As an example of a mid-rise building we have in town, we have the ability with the ladder truck to rescue people from window to window, balcony to balcony, have them enter into the basket and bring them safely to the ground without the use of ladders. It's just like an elevator going to the ground, and they get down safely. The right tool, the ladder truck. Suppression. Everybody thinks to put the fire out, you use a fire engine. Well, that's true, but we also use the ladder truck. Again, we talk about using elevated streams from a high position. The ladder truck gives us that ability. So suppression, again, the ladder truck is the right tool. The ladder truck is the most versatile apparatus in our fleet with the ability to perform the three key actions, which we talked about as ventilation, search and rescue, and suppression. Let's talk about the right time, the rapid response. Time is of the essence. 4 to 6 minutes is the level of service we provide to the community. As you saw in the video, 4 minutes consumed the entire room. That's why it's important that the early arrival of the ladder truck is critical in initiating the three key actions. Vehicle location. As you can see by this map, we built an entire response strategy around the ladder truck locating it at Station 2 to minimize the response time to the community. It's because we have the right tools at the right time. Ladder truck versatility. The village has a ladder truck in place since 1959. It responds to approximately 800 calls for service, fire, rescue, and EMS. It has the ability to carry tools and equipment from 1 to 7 floors. Ability to flow large volumes of water from elevated positions, as we discussed earlier, and it utilizes on EMS calls for safe patient removals. We also utilize the ladder truck on technical rescue and hazardous materials incidents. Before we continue, and we show the slides of actual incidents, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. Before becoming a chief officer, I was on the truck company for 10 years. 7 of them, I was a lieutenant in charge of the companies. As you can see in the picture on the left-hand side is an incident of the Lone Star Fire. I was at that fire. Some of the things as a company officer on the truck, and we think about through the fire service, is the type of occupancy we have in our town and also the building construction. That night at the Lone Star Fire, when we brought the crews up to the roof, we saw that it was a bowstring truss roof. You don't need to know a lot about bowstring truss roofs except the one thing. That's the #1 killer of firefighters. And those things are very dangerous. So as we took the crew up to that roof, we saw that it was a bowstring truss roof. We got close to the roof. We cut an observation hole because we could see the fire at the far end of the building. We thought it would be pretty safe, but we didn't take any chances. We cut an observation hole in the roof to see what kind of fire and smoke pushed out of that hole. We determined that it was a heavy fire load under that roof. We immediately backed away from the roof, notified the incident commander saying that there was heavy fire load under a bowstring truss roof, that we need to evacuate the building. All companies removed themselves and safely evacuated, and then we began suppressing the fire using elevated master streams or elevated water streams, as you see in that picture. So again, the ladder truck provided us not only the ventilation that night, but also it provided suppression activities. A more recent fire that we had on Main Street. If you take a look at the building construction on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that there's a house on fire. If you take a look at the pitch of that roof, it was difficult to place a firefighter on that roof, 3 stories up, the coldest day of the year, and safely cut a hole in the roof. We used a ladder truck, again, putting the tools and equipment into the basket, raising it up to the roof, cutting a ventilation hole, as we discussed earlier, ventilating this building, allowing the smoke, heat, and the fire to go where we wanted it to go. Once we determined that we had a heavy volume of fire in that house, we in turn backed up the basket and we started flowing large quantities of water into the roof, or into the ventilation hole, to suppress the fire, so we again gain entry to put the rest of the fire out. As you can see in the bottom picture, we do have steam conversion, which means we're putting the fire out. Here's another picture of a ladder truck at an elevated position putting water into a fire. It gives us the ability, with a good vantage point, to put the water where we need to put it so we can safely fight this fire. The ladder truck carries anywhere between 170 and 194 feet of ground ladders. As you can see, the main ladder being utilized on the roof. Having the extra ladders gives us the ability and the flexibility to place ladders at windows or any other rooftops that we may need to get to. Here's another slide, a picture of an actual rescue incident. There was a construction worker on the second floor that had injured his leg and back. There was a problem getting him down because there were no staircase built in this house under construction. To safely remove that patient, we utilized a ladder truck. We moved him out the window onto the basket, brought him safely down to the ground with no injuries to firefighters, no further complications to the patient. Here's another picture of the ladder truck being used at a technical rescue incident. This is a trench rescue where the victim was anywhere between 15 to 20 feet down on the ground. After the patient was packaged, we used a ladder truck and the strapping you see to help hoist that victim out of the ground, again using the ladder truck. Ladder trucks are an extremely important vehicle to have on the scene of any incident. So in closing, I'd like you to remember that building construction and the type of occupancy that we have in our village dictates the necessity of the ladder truck, so that we can provide the 3 key functions and the versatility to our emergency incidents.
Thank you, Chief Jackson. I want to talk a little bit about the current state of our ladder truck. It has been out of service since mid-January due to significant structural damage to the main ladder and the frame of the truck. Village staff has put forth 4 options for repair and replacement of the truck that are consistent with our current level of service and response strategy. Additional options are available for consideration in changes in service level, if so desired by the Village Council. Option 1 is the repair of our existing ladder truck. It would cost about $80,000, would take about 4 to 5 months. However, if we pursue this option, we can expect to have continued time out of service for ongoing maintenance and repairs of this aging truck. Option 2 is to refurbish the truck and return it to service. This would consist of the repairs mentioned in Option 1, plus additional repairs and refurbishment. This would cost about $350,000 to $500,000 and would take about 4 to 5 months. Like Option 1, under this option, we would expect significant time out of service for ongoing repairs and maintenance to our aging truck. Option 3 is the purchase of a village design truck. This is a custom design option where the village staff would prepare specifications for a truck to be manufactured. This would cost about $950,000 to $1 million, would take about 12 months. Option 4 is to purchase a manufacturer-designed truck. Manufacturers are currently building ladder trucks that would meet our village needs. Under this option, it would be a cost of about $875,000 and would result in delivery of a truck within about 3 to 6 months. It's important to note that on options 3 and 4, we could consider trading in our existing ladder truck at an estimated value of about $100,000. So the net cost of option 3 is approximately $850,000 to $950,000, and the net cost of option 4 is about $775,000. Funding for replacement. There are funds available for replacing this truck now. The village operates and maintains an equipment replacement fund, which allows us to replace vehicles on a schedule with no negative impact to our annual operating budgets. We use a pre-funding approach for this where we make annual contributions to the fund to make sure that funds are available at the time of replacement. We are now in a position to replace the ladder truck in 2011 with no negative impact on the village operating funds. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends option 4, the purchase of a manufacturer-designed truck. This would be a net cost of $775,000, and we could take delivery of a truck within 3 to 6 months. The Public Safety Committee of the Village Council met on March 7, 2011 to consider this item. They concurred with the staff recommendation. This discussion will be placed on an upcoming Village Council meeting for further dialogue. Thank you.